Okay, let's dive right into a story that, well, according to the account we're looking at, really caught people's attention globally. Just picture this. It's 2025. There's a man in Libya. He's simply trying to make the Hajj Pilgrimage, the journey to Mecca. Hugely important. He's there at the airport, all set. But right at immigration, he gets stopped. His whole group. They board the plane. It leaves. Without him, you'd think, okay, that's it. Journey over.
Right. Seems like the end of the line.
But according to this particular story, that's really just where things start getting strange, because then the plane itself keeps getting stopped.
Yeah.
Repeatedly.
It's quite a narrative, yeah. The source material we have today, it describes these events in really vivid detail. Seems to be a widely shared online story, maybe a viral article. So we're doing a deep dive into this specific account. It presents these events around this Libyan man's Hajj journey as, well, a powerful example of faith, of overcoming obstacles that seem completely insurmountable.
Exactly. And our mission here is to unpack this account, the story of Amir Al-Mahadi Mansour al-Gaddafi. We want to pull out the key events, just as they're reported, and really try to grasp the significant meaning the source attaches to all of it.
And the narrative, it kicks off by painting a very relatable picture. You've got Amir, just an ordinary guy from Libya, preparing for this huge journey, the Hajj, in 2025. He's with a group of other pilgrims, nothing unusual yet.
Right, just one pilgrim among many, heading off to Mecca. Everything seems normal. He's with his group. Until, like I said, the account mentions this first snag.
Yeah, happens right there at the immigration counter. Apparently his surname, al-Gaddafi, it triggered some kind of flag in their system. And that immediately got security's attention.
And just like that, boom, he's pulled aside. Security holds him back right there. Meanwhile, the story goes, his group just continues on. They board the flight to Mecca.
He's left behind.
Yeah, left behind.
But what makes the story really take off, according to this source, is what happens next. It says that even after the issue was supposedly sorted out, he pleaded with them, but the pilot just refused. Refused to reopen the door.
Seriously.
Yep, the plane departed. Without Amir.
Wow. Okay, most people in that situation, you'd be crushed.
Yeah.
Devastated. Maybe just, give up and go home.
Exactly. But the source makes a point of highlighting Amir's reaction as something different. It talks about his unwavering faith, uses the term Tawakkul Allah, that complete trust and reliance on God.
Complete trust even then.
The account even includes words he reportedly said right then. I intend to perform Hajj, and God willing, I will go.
Just like that.
A simple statement, yeah. But the source presents it as being just full of conviction.
Okay, so here's where the story, at least as this source tells it, really takes a dramatic, almost unbelievable turn. Shortly after takeoff, the plane, it reportedly develops some kind of technical malfunction.
Yes, and it's forced, according to this narrative, to turn right back around. Lands again at the very same airport it just left.
Incredible. So it comes back. They do some minor repairs, the story says. But even then, with the plane back on the ground, the pilot still refuses to let Amir board. And Amir's still there, waiting.
Still refuses. And unbelievably, the plane takes off again. A second time.
Okay.
Only the account says it immediately runs into another technical problem right away.
You kidding?
Nope. Has to land again for the second time.
Wow. Okay. So 2 takeoffs, 2 immediate technical failures, forcing it back down. The source really frames this second failure as the turning point. Says it was after this second forced landing that the captain did. Well, the story claims he had this big realization about what was actually going on.
Yeah, according to this account, the captain suddenly understood it wasn't just, random mechanical failures. The real problem, as the source puts it, was that they were stopping someone from going to Hajj who was seen as, and these are the source's words, a guest of none other than Allah himself.
That is quite an interpretation. Very powerful framing from the source.
Definitely. And based on this apparent realization, the captain reportedly makes this very dramatic declaration. He says something like, I swear I won't fly again unless Amir is with us on this plane.
He actually said that, according to the source.
That's what the source reports. And it was only then, the account finishes, that the authorities finally relented. They allowed Amir to board the flight.
Finally, so third time's a charm, I guess.
Apparently so. On the third attempt, with Amir now on board, the plane takes off. And this time, it successfully departs for Mecca. The journey that seemed totally blocked just moments before it was finally happening.
That's just quite a sequence of events described there.
And the aftermath, as the source describes it, is also pretty striking. It says the people involved The captain, the pilot, even airport authorities were later seen taking pictures, getting videos with Amir.
Really? Why?
Well, the reason the source gives is that they came to believe Amir had this very special status in the eyes of Allah. They concluded the delays weren't just bad luck or faulty equipment. No, it was because, as the account puts it, Allah had chosen Amir as his guest. The problems were happening because he wasn't on board.
So, okay, let's dig into that interpretation a bit more. What's the core message the source is trying to convey with all this?
Well, it really dives deep into the meaning. The source makes this really profound claim, essentially, that when Allah invites someone to his house, to Hajj, then absolutely no force, not on heaven or earth, can actually stop them.
No force at all.
It's a very strong statement.
Huh?
The source even suggests that if the captain and authorities had still refused him after the second landing, well, the plane would have just kept having problems, kept returning until he was allowed on. Yeah, the source uses this phrase that the entire universe shifts for someone who puts that absolute trust, that tawakkul, in Allah.
And they back this up with scripture.
They do. The source includes a specific quote from the Holy Quran, and whoever puts his trust in Allah, then he will suffice him.
He will suffice him, meaning God will be enough.
Exactly. So the key takeaway, the message this source really wants you, the listener, to grasp is this. Because Allah had willed for Amir to make that journey, any worldly obstacle didn't matter if it was airport security, computer systems, stubborn captains, mechanical faults, even the basic laws of aviation. They were all rendered powerless in the end. They couldn't stop what was divinely intended.
So the source is explicitly connecting this incredible series of events directly to that concept of tawakkul, that level of trust a believer should strive for.
Precisely. And the narrative really pushes you to think about the implications. The source itself poses these questions, like, if Allah is with you, then who can be against you? If Allah has invited you, then how can the doors remain closed? It frames it as almost rhetorical.
So ultimately, the conclusion from this account is that the airport systems, the human decisions, none of it could deny Amir his Hajj because, in the view presented, the Lord of the worlds had already accepted him. It's presented as divine will, completely overriding human plans and systems.
Yeah, that's the essence of it. And the source doesn't just leave it there. It wraps up with some quite powerful reflections, some guidance drawn from this story aimed directly at the listener.
Like what?
Well, it encourages you to strive for a kind of servitude, a sincerity in your devotion, so pure that, metaphorically speaking, your master longs to meet you. And, crucially, to develop that tawakkul, that deep trust, to such a degree that it can seemingly achieve the extraordinary. Like in this story, turning flights around, softening people's hearts, overcoming seemingly impossible physical barriers.
That's a high bar for faith.
It is. And fittingly, given the whole story is about Hajj, the source actually includes a prayer at the end. A prayer for the listener, for you, to also be blessed to undertake Hajj and Umrah someday.
Right. So we've taken a deep dive into this really quite remarkable account, the story of Amir Al-Mahadi Mansour Al-Gaddafi's Hajj Journey. And maybe more importantly, the powerful interpretation that this particular source material offers. It frames overcoming obstacles not just through human effort, but through profound faith and the idea of divine intervention.
Mm-hmm. So, thinking about this specific story, this account we've unpacked, what does it make you reflect on? When you face your own unexpected delays, those frustrations, things that feel like huge roadblocks in your life, especially maybe when it comes to goals or journeys that really matter deeply to you?
Yeah, that's a good question to sit with. And maybe one more thing to consider. How does this specific account, as it's presented by the source, how does it maybe challenge or perhaps affirm your own understanding of that complex relationship between our human plans, all those unforeseen things that happen, and these larger concepts like divine will or destiny?
Definitely something to mull over.